Aaron and Mina were two friends who loved hiking more than anything. They had known each other since childhood, and both shared the same passion for mountains, rivers, and wild forests. Hiking was not just an activity for them, it was a way to breathe, to escape the busy noise of the town and to feel close to nature. Every weekend, no matter how tired they were from work, they packed their small bags and went up into the hills. On one particular morning, the sky was blue and the air felt fresh. The sun had risen bright and a soft wind carried the smell of pine trees. Aaron woke up early, filled his bag with food, water, and a flashlight while Mina checked the map, compass, and a small first aid kit. Both of them were ready for a long day. They had decided to explore a trail they had never taken before, one that was not marked clearly on the map. For them, unknown paths were always the most exciting. They started their walk with light steps and cheerful talk. The birds sang above their heads and squirrels jumped from branch to branch. The ground was uneven, covered with stones, roots, and dry leaves, but they were used to it. They laughed, joked, and sometimes stopped to take in the view of tall peaks standing in the distance. Hours passed as they walked deeper into the forest, and slowly the air grew cooler. By noon, clouds gathered over the mountains, and a soft mist began to rise. The sunlight grew weaker, and shadows stretched across the trail. Aaron paused, looking around with a small frown. "Are you sure this is the right path?" he asked. Mina looked at the compass and map, but found no clear mark of where they were. She smiled, though inside she felt a small doubt. "It is fine. We are not lost. This is just an adventure," she replied. Aaron nodded, though his eyes studied the strange silence around them. They continued for another half hour when Mina suddenly stopped. "Look there," she said, pointing through the trees. Aaron followed her finger and saw something unusual. At first it looked like a shadow or a large rock, but when they moved closer, a shape of a building appeared. Both of them stood still in surprise. Hidden among the tall trees, half covered with moss and vines, stood a huge structure. It was silent and lifeless, but its size was shocking. The walls were cracked, the windows broken, and parts of the roof had fallen. Yet the building still stood strong, tall as if it was once proud. Mina's eyes widened. "It looks like a hotel," she whispered. Above the front doors, faint letters were carved into stone. Though most of the words had faded with time, two words could still be read clearly. Mountain View. Neither of them had ever heard about a hotel in this area. Aaron stepped forward slowly, his boots crunching on dry leaves. He stared at the wide front steps that led to heavy wooden doors, half open, hanging tiredly from their hinges. A feeling of mystery filled the air. "This place looks abandoned for many years," Aaron said. The two friends exchanged looks. Their hearts beat faster with both fear and excitement. Mina could not resist the urge to know more. She climbed the steps carefully and pushed the wooden door. It gave a long groan and opened wider, letting out a breath of cold air filled with dust. They entered a vast lobby. The ceiling stretched high above them with broken lamps hanging down. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars. Chairs and tables stood scattered around, each one covered in thick layers of dust. At the far end was a long counter like the reception desk of an old hotel. A small bell sat on top of it, its metal surface rusted. Mina pressed it gently. The bell gave a faint ring and the sound echoed through the empty hall. Both of them shivered, for the sound seemed too loud in the silent place. Aaron walked to the center of the lobby, looking around with curious eyes. Old paintings of mountains hung on the walls, their colors faded to dull shades. A broken sofa stood nearby. Aaron brushed the dust with his hand and coughed as the air filled with powder. "This place feels frozen in time," he said softly. They explored further. To the left of the lobby was a large dining hall. Long tables still stood in neat rows, and chairs were lined up as if waiting for guests. White cloths covered some tables, now stained yellow with age. Plates and glasses were scattered as if people had left in a hurry. To the right side, they found a door leading to a small lounge, filled with broken armchairs and torn curtains that moved with the wind sneaking through the cracks. Both of them felt the strange sense that people had once lived here, laughed here, maybe celebrated holidays here, but then everything had stopped suddenly. They returned to the lobby and found a staircase at the back. It was wide, with a red carpet running up the middle. The carpet was thick with dust, yet something caught Aaron's attention. He bent down and looked closely. There were footprints, not old ones, fresh ones. He stared at them silently, then looked up at Mina. Her eyes widened as she noticed them too. "These are not ours," she whispered. Her hand trembled slightly as she held the flashlight. She clicked it on and pointed it up the staircase. The beam of light cut into the darkness, showing the long corridor above. The air seemed heavier now. Both of them froze. They listened carefully. For a moment there was only silence. Then faintly from somewhere above, a soft creaking sound reached their ears. It was the sound of a door moving. Mina held her breath. Arin's heart pounded. Whoever had left those footprints might still be inside. The two hikers stood at the bottom of the stairs, caught between fear and curiosity. They could turn back, leave the strange building behind and return to the safety of the forest. Or they could climb up, follow the footprints, and uncover the mystery of who or what was living in the abandoned hotel. Arin looked at Mina. Her face was pale, but her eyes were shining with a mix of fear and determination. "We cannot leave now," she whispered. "We have to know." Arin nodded slowly. He tightened the straps of his bag, took a deep breath, and placed one foot on the first step. The wooden stair groaned under his weight. Mina followed close behind, the flashlight beam shaking slightly in her hands. Step by step they climbed upward, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the empty hotel. The higher they went, the colder the air felt. Shadows danced on the walls as the flashlight moved. The footprints led them straight into the darkness. Neither of them spoke. They could only hear their own breathing, their hearts beating fast, and the distant whisper of something unknown waiting for them above. At the top of the staircase, they stopped. The hallway stretched long in front of them, lined with doors on both sides. The carpet continued, still marked with footprints leading further in. Arin and Mina stood there, silent and alert. They had stumbled upon a mystery, and the answers were somewhere inside this forgotten hotel. What they would find, they could not even imagine. Arin and Mina stood at the top of the staircase, staring down the long, dimly lit hallway. The air smelled of dust, old wood, and something faintly metallic. Each door along the corridor seemed to watch them silently. The footprints on the carpet led straight ahead, deeper into the building. Neither of them spoke at first, both afraid to break the quiet, fearing that any sound might alert whoever was in the hotel. Finally, Mina whispered, "We should check the rooms carefully. There might be someone inside, or maybe the footprints were left long ago." Arin nodded. He adjusted his backpack and shone the flashlight toward the first door on the left. The door handle was rusted, but it turned with a soft click. Inside, the room was small, with two old beds covered in faded sheets. A broken wardrobe leaned against the wall, and a cracked mirror reflected the flashlight beam in jagged shapes. Dust covered every surface, and small piles of debris were scattered across the floor. Arin bent down and picked up a torn piece of paper. It was yellowed with age and had handwriting he could barely read. Mina walked closer to the window and peered outside. From the height of the hotel, the mountains looked taller and the forest stretched endlessly. The mist below made the landscape look like a painting. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. "Nothing strange in this room," Arun said, tossing the paper back gently. "Let's check the next one." They moved down the hallway, opening each door carefully. Some rooms were empty, some had old furniture, and a few had remnants of belongings left behind. A suitcase here, a single shoe there, a book covered in dust. The silence of the building pressed on them like a heavy blanket. Every creak of the floor made them jump slightly, but they continued. As they reached the middle of the hallway, they noticed something odd. One of the doors was slightly open and a faint light glowed from inside. It was different from their flashlight beam. Arin motioned for Mina to stay quiet. He slowly pushed the door wider. Inside was a large room with a high ceiling. The walls were covered with faded wallpaper, and broken chandeliers hung above. In the middle of the room, a small lamp flickered weakly, powered by an old battery. And in the corner they saw a figure. A man sitting on the floor, hunched over something. Mina gasped softly. Arin stepped forward and called out gently, "Hello, are you okay?" The man looked up slowly. His hair was long and messy, and his clothes were worn. His eyes were wide with surprise, but not with anger. I did not expect anyone," he said in a soft voice. "Who are you?" Arin and Mina introduced themselves, trying to keep calm. The man's name was Raju. He explained that he had been living in the abandoned hotel for months. "I came here to find peace," he said. "No one knew I was here. I only wanted to stay away from the world for a while." Mina and Aaron listened carefully. Raju looked tired but not dangerous. He had food stored in a corner and water collected from a small stream outside. He had made the hotel his home, fixing small broken windows and cleaning the floors bit by bit. Aaron noticed that the footprints leading upstairs were Raju's. "You could have told someone," Mina said gently. Raju shook his head. "I was afraid. People might chase me away or call the police. I just wanted to be alone for a while." "The forest in this hotel?" "They are quiet and I like that." Aaron looked around the room. Despite being abandoned, the hotel was strong, built from solid wood and stone. He realized that Raju had found a place where he could survive, away from the chaos of towns and cities. Mina, however, felt uneasy. "This hotel is not only abandoned," she said. "Something feels strange here. Do you ever hear noises at night?" Raju nodded. "Sometimes I hear footsteps, doors opening, or whispers. At first I thought I was imagining it. Then I realized, this place has its own stories. It is old. It remembers people who stayed here long ago. But I am used to it now." Mina's curiosity grew. "Stories? What do you mean?" Raju stood slowly. "This hotel was built many decades ago. It was once famous among travelers and tourists. People came here to rest, enjoy the mountains, and spend holidays. But then one day the owner left. Some say a fire scared people away. Others say the mountains were not safe anymore. Over time, the hotel became empty, forgotten by the world. But the walls, the rooms, even the furniture, they remember. Sometimes at night you can hear laughter, doors opening, footsteps walking, as if the guests never left." Arun and Mina exchanged looks. Both of them felt a shiver. They had heard strange sounds since arriving, and suddenly everything made sense. "We heard footsteps too," Arun said. "And doors creaked by themselves." Raju smiled faintly. "Yes, that is why I do not mind them anymore. They are part of this place. But sometimes it can be surprising for new visitors." The three of them talked for a while. Raju showed them his small collection of items: old books, a few canned foods, and tools he used to fix the broken parts of the hotel. Aaron noticed the care he had taken. Despite the building being abandoned, someone had tried to make it livable. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the hallway outside. It sounded like a door slamming. Mina jumped. Aaron shone the flashlight toward the corridor, but no one was there. Raju nodded calmly. "That is the hotel talking again," he said. "Sometimes doors move when the wind enters, or sometimes it is just the memory of the past. Don't worry. Nothing will harm you." Mina was fascinated. She had always loved old buildings and history, but this was more than she expected. The hotel was like a hidden world, frozen in time, yet alive in its own way. Aaron, however, wanted to explore more. "Can we see the other floors?" he asked. Raju hesitated. "You can, but be careful. The upper floors are weaker. Some parts of the wood are old, and the ceilings may be unsafe." Mina held Aaron's hand. "We have to be careful," she said. "But I want to see it too." Together they left the room and walked slowly down the hallway. Aaron's flashlight illuminated broken doors and faded paintings. Mina's steps were light, but her eyes took in every detail. The footprints led further down the corridor and then turned toward a staircase going higher. They climbed carefully, the floorboards creaking under their weight. The higher they went, the colder the air became. Dust filled the hallway and cobwebs brushed against their faces. At the top, they found a long corridor lined with more rooms. Some doors hung open, some were locked. Aaron tried the first door. It led to a large room filled with old furniture covered by white sheets. The sheets looked like ghosts in the flashlight beam. Mina laughed softly. "It feels like a movie set," Raju smiled. "It is a little like that. This hotel has many secrets. Each room has its own story. Some rooms were used for celebrations, some for meetings, and some were left as they were when people left suddenly. They moved from room to room. Each door revealed something new. A piano with broken keys, a pile of books, a small suitcase filled with old clothes, a photograph of a family smiling long ago. Aaron and Mina were amazed. They felt like time travelers, stepping into moments from decades past. As they reached the end of the hallway, they noticed a large room with windows facing the mountains. Sunlight broke through the clouds and lit the room with soft golden light. The view was breathtaking. Tall peaks, green forests, and a distant river sparkling in the sun. Both Arun and Mina stopped for a moment, forgetting the hotel, the footprints, and even Raju. The mountains were alive, and the world outside felt endless. Raju watched them quietly. This is why I stay here, he said softly. The view, the silence, and the mountains. They are a gift for those who seek peace. Aaron nodded. I understand now. This place is special. Mina looked at the old furniture, the broken chandeliers, and the dusty carpet. It is abandoned, yes, but it has a story, a life. We have only begun to discover it, Raju smiled. And there is more. The hotel has hidden corners, basements, and attics. Each has something waiting. But you have to be careful. Some parts are fragile, and the mountains around us are not always kind. Aaron and Mina exchanged a look of excitement. The adventure had only begun. The abandoned hotel was no longer just an empty building. It was a living memory filled with stories, mysteries, and secrets waiting to be uncovered. They decided to rest in the sunlit room for a while, sharing food and talking to Raju. They laughed at small memories, and the fear of the earlier sounds began to fade. Yet both of them knew that the real mystery of the hotel was still ahead. Outside, the mountains stood tall, the forest whispered with the wind, and the abandoned hotel waited silently, ready to reveal more of its secrets to those brave enough to explore. After resting in the sunlit room for a while, Arun, Mina, and Raju decided to explore the upper floors more carefully. The sunlight outside began to fade as clouds moved across the sky, casting shadows through the broken windows. The mountains glowed softly in the evening light, but inside the hotel the air felt cooler and heavier. The atmosphere was quiet, almost alive, as if the building itself was watching them. Raju led the way. The attic is the oldest part of this hotel, he said. It has furniture, old trunks, and objects that were never touched for decades. But the stairs to reach it are old. You must be careful. Aaron nodded, gripping the railing tightly. Mina followed closely, her flashlight lighting the path. The wooden stairs creaked under each step, reminding them of the age of the building. Shadows flickered on the walls as the beams of their flashlights moved. Every sound, each groan of wood, each whisper of wind seemed louder in the empty hotel. At the top, the attic doors stood slightly open. Raju pushed the first door gently, and the smell of old wood and dust filled their noses. The room was enormous, with a slanted ceiling and beams supporting the roof. Sunlight filtered through small cracks in the walls, creating lines of light across the floor. Old trunks and boxes were stacked against the walls, and furniture lay scattered, covered in white sheets. A large mirror leaned against one side, its surface clouded with age. Mina walked over and wiped some dust from the glass. She could faintly see the reflection of the mountains outside, distorted and mysterious. This place is incredible, Mina whispered. It feels like no one has touched it for years, but it also feels alive. Raju nodded. Yes, many people left in a hurry. Some came here for vacation, some to live temporarily. When the owner left, everyone slowly disappeared. But the memories stayed in this hotel. Arun opened one of the trunks carefully. Inside were old clothes, letters tied with ribbons, and photographs of people smiling at the camera. Some looked happy, others serious, and some appeared nervous. Arun picked up one photograph. It was a family, 2 parents and 3 children standing outside the hotel, dressed in old-fashioned clothes. The faces were bright and cheerful, frozen in time. Mina found a box filled with journals. The pages were yellowed and the ink had faded, but she could read some entries. The handwriting told stories of travelers who came to the mountains, of parties and celebrations, of storms that hit the forest, and nights spent watching the stars from the hotel terrace. This hotel has seen so many lives, Mina said softly. It is like a time capsule. Suddenly a faint sound came from the far corner of the attic. It was soft, almost like a whisper. Aaron froze. Mina shined her flashlight toward the sound. A small door at the end of the attic stood slightly ajar. Behind it, darkness swallowed the corner completely. Raju's expression changed slightly. That is the old storage room, he said. It has been locked for decades, but the wind sometimes opens it. Or perhaps, the hotel wants you to see what is inside. Aaron and Mina exchanged curious glances. The sense of mystery grew stronger. Slowly, Aaron pushed the door open. It squealed loudly, echoing through the attic. The room inside was tiny but filled with old items. Furniture, boxes, paintings, and a large chest in the middle. The chest was locked, its surface carved with strange symbols and patterns. Mina stepped closer. It looks important, she said. Maybe it has something from the past of this hotel. Raju nodded. Many tried to open it over the years. Some said it holds the secrets of the hotel. Others believed it was empty. I have never opened it. Aaron studied the chest carefully. It was heavy and the carvings were intricate. The symbols were unfamiliar, but they gave a sense of old traditions and careful craftsmanship. "We should try to open it," Aaron said. Mina hesitated. "What if it is dangerous?" Raju smiled faintly. "The hotel has its own magic. It does not harm those who mean no harm. If you open it with respect, it may show you what it wants." Aaron found a small keyhole hidden under the carvings. He looked around for a key. Mina noticed a small box on a nearby shelf. Inside was a rusted key covered with dust. "Could this be it?" she asked, holding it out. Raju nodded. "Try it." Aaron inserted the key carefully into the lock. It turned with a loud click and the chest slowly creaked open. Inside was a pile of old papers, letters, and a small wooden box. Aaron lifted the wooden box gently. It was simple, carved with tiny mountain shapes and locked with a tiny latch. Mina opened it carefully. Inside were dozens of small handwritten notes and drawings. Some were maps of the mountains, some were sketches of the hotel itself, and some were messages written by travelers who had stayed there. Many spoke of strange events, unexplained sounds, and mysterious lights. "These are stories of the people who stayed here," Mina said. "They wrote everything before they left." Raju smiled. "Yes, they wanted to leave their memories behind, and this chest became their secret. The hotel keeps it safe for those who can find it." Aaron read one of the notes aloud. It spoke of a night when a traveler heard footsteps in the hallway, but when he looked, no one was there. Another note spoke of laughter and whispers in the attic at midnight, and how the guests felt watched yet safe. Mina shivered slightly. "It is strange," she said. "The hotel is abandoned, but it is also full of life." Raju nodded. "The past never really leaves this place. It stays in the walls, the floors, and the furniture. Sometimes it shows itself to those who are curious, and sometimes it waits silently." Aaron and Mina spent the next hour examining the chest, reading the letters, and studying the old maps. Each note revealed a small part of the hotel's history, and each drawing gave clues about the people who had stayed there. They felt connected to those who had come long before them, as if the hotel had invited them to understand its story. Suddenly, a soft thud came from below. Both Aaron and Mina froze. Raju looked serious. "The hotel is trying to guide you," he said. "Sometimes sounds are just the house breathing. Sometimes it is something waiting to be discovered." Aaron and Mina looked at each other, their excitement mixed with nervousness. They realized that this abandoned hotel was not empty. It had a presence, a memory, and a soul of its own. Each creak, each shadow, each whisper seemed to tell a story, waiting for someone brave enough to listen. As the sun began to set, the attic grew darker. Beams of light disappeared, leaving only the faint glow of their flashlights. Mina suggested they explore the lower floors before it got too dark. Aaron agreed. They carefully closed the chest, leaving the notes and maps inside. Raju followed them, his calm presence comforting. Walking down the old staircase, they noticed the hallway seemed longer, the shadows deeper. The footprints on the red carpet seemed to move, disappearing and reappearing as if guiding them somewhere. Aaron felt a thrill of adventure while Mina felt a quiet awe. They realized the hotel was more than a building. It was a keeper of memories, full of secrets waiting to be discovered by those who dared to explore. By the time they reached the lobby, the evening had turned into twilight. The mountains outside glowed with the last light of the sun. Aaron, Mina, and Raju stood together, looking around the empty hotel. They knew this was only the beginning. Many more stories, secrets, and discoveries awaited them in the abandoned Mountain View Hotel. The night had just begun, and the adventure was far from over. As the night settled over the mountains, Aaron, Mina, and Raju stood in the quiet lobby of the abandoned hotel. The windows were dark, and only the soft glow of their flashlights cut through the shadows. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. Inside, the hotel seemed alive, as if it was holding its breath, waiting for them to take the next step. Raju spoke first. "There is one part of this hotel very few have seen," he said quietly. "The basement. It is old, and it has been locked for many years. People say it holds the true secrets of the hotel, the things that the owners left behind before they vanished. If you are brave, we can go down and see it." Aaron looked at Mina. Her eyes shone with curiosity, though there was a hint of nervousness. "We should go," Aaron said. "We have come this far. We cannot stop now." Mina nodded. "Yes, but carefully. We do not know what is down there." Raju led the way to a hidden door behind the lobby counter. It was almost invisible in the shadows, blending with the wooden panels. He pushed it open slowly, revealing a narrow staircase that descended into darkness. The air smelled older here, heavier as if it had been trapped for decades. Dust rose in small clouds as they stepped down. Each step creaked loudly, echoing through the empty space. At the bottom of the staircase, they found a large stone door with a rusty handle. Aaron pushed it gently. It groaned but opened, revealing a wide basement filled with old crates, furniture, and strange objects that had been left behind. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling and the air was chilly and damp. The first thing that caught their eyes was a long row of old photographs lining the wall. Each frame was cracked and dusty, but the images were still clear. They showed the hotel many decades ago, full of life. Guests smiled in fancy clothes. Families gathered in the dining hall and children played in the garden. One photograph stood out. A man and a woman standing near the entrance, staring directly at the camera with serious expressions. Their eyes seemed to follow Aaron and Meena as they moved. "This must be the owner and his wife," Raju said. "They left everything here, but no one knows why they vanished. Some say they went to the mountains and never returned. Others believe something strange happened inside this hotel that forced them to leave." Aaron and Meena felt a chill. The basement was heavy with history, and each object seemed to hold a memory. They walked slowly, examining the crates and furniture. Most were filled with old books, broken lamps, or clothing. But one crate caught Arun's attention. It was larger than the others and sealed tightly with a heavy lock. "Should we open it?" Arun asked. Raju looked at the crate carefully. "This one is different. It contains the most important records of the hotel. No one has touched it for decades." Meena's curiosity was stronger than her fear. "Let's see it," she said. Aaron carefully lifted the lid of the crate, revealing stacks of papers, folders, and small boxes tied with ribbons. The air smelled of old paper and time itself. They began to go through the contents slowly. The first folder contained letters from travelers who had stayed at the hotel many years ago. Some spoke of happy experiences, others of strange noises at night. One letter described footsteps in the hall when no one was there, while another spoke of lights appearing in the windows after the hotel was officially closed. Aaron read the letters aloud, and Meena shivered at the strange coincidences with their own experience that day. Next, they found a small box filled with keys. Each key was labeled with a number, and some had notes describing the room it belonged to. "These must be for the rooms upstairs," Meena said. "Perhaps some of the doors we saw were meant to stay locked." Finally, at the bottom of the crate, they found a leather-bound journal. Its cover was cracked, but the pages inside were surprisingly intact. Aaron opened it carefully. The handwriting was elegant, and the entries dated back decades. It belonged to the owner of the hotel, documenting everything about the hotel, its guests, and the strange occurrences that had started over time. One entry caught their attention. It described how guests had begun to report shadows moving in the hallways, whispers in the empty rooms, and lights flickering without reason. The owner admitted being frightened but determined to protect the hotel and its secrets. He wrote about a hidden chamber in the basement, a place where he kept the most precious items and records, saying it should remain untouched until someone worthy found it. Aaron looked up. "Do you think we are worthy?" he asked, half joking, half serious. Raju smiled faintly. "Perhaps. The hotel decides who sees its secrets. It does not harm those who respect it." Meena felt a thrill of excitement. "We have to find this hidden chamber," she said. "It must be somewhere in this basement." They began to search carefully. Behind old furniture and crates, they found a small door concealed in the stone wall. It was almost invisible, hidden by shadows and cobwebs. Aaron pushed it gently, revealing a narrow passage. The air was colder here, and the passage seemed to stretch deep into the earth. With flashlights in hand, they stepped inside. The walls were made of stone, rough and ancient. The passage led them to a small chamber with a low ceiling. In the center of the room was a large wooden chest, much larger than the one in the attic. It was decorated with carvings of mountains, trees, and strange symbols, similar to the ones they had seen before. "This must be it," Raju said softly. "The hidden chamber the owner wrote about." Aaron and Meena approached the chest cautiously. The lock was heavy, but with some effort, Aaron turned it. The chest creaked as it opened, revealing its contents. Inside were gold coins, jewelry, and rare artifacts. There were also stacks of old books and papers documenting the hotel's history, the guests, and even maps of the surrounding mountains. But what caught their attention the most were small notes written by the owner. They spoke of the mountains, the forest, and the importance of protecting the hotel's secrets. One note read that the hotel itself was alive in a sense, keeping memories and stories for those who came with respect and curiosity. Mina picked up one of the maps. It showed hidden paths in the mountains, small caves and streams. Some locations were marked with symbols that seemed to match the carvings on the chest. "This is incredible," she said. "It is not just a hotel. It is a guide to the mountains around it." Aaron looked around the chamber. The feeling of being part of something much larger than themselves filled him with awe. "The hotel has waited for people like us," he said. "People who are curious, careful, and respectful." Raju nodded. "Yes, but the hotel also tests you. It shows the unknown slowly. So only those who are patient and brave can understand it." They spent the next hour examining the chest and its contents. Each item told a story. Each note revealed a secret, and each map gave them clues to the mysteries of the mountains. The sense of wonder grew stronger with every discovery. Finally, they closed the chest and locked it again. Aaron, Mina, and Raju stood quietly for a moment, feeling the weight of the hotel's history around them. They knew that what they had discovered was not just treasure or artifacts. It was the story of a place frozen in time, alive with memories and waiting for the right people to uncover it. As they climbed back to the lobby, the first stars appeared in the night sky. The mountains were dark and silent, but a faint glow came from the hotel's windows. It was as if the building itself was breathing, acknowledging their presence and sharing its secrets in return. Aaron and Mina felt a mixture of excitement, awe, and respect. They had entered an abandoned hotel, but they were leaving with more than memories. They had discovered a place where history, mystery, and nature merged. And they knew that their adventure had only just begun. The Mountain View Hotel, silent and majestic, waited patiently for the next day, ready to reveal even more of its stories to those who dared to explore its depths. The night was deep, and the mountains surrounding the abandoned hotel were quiet and still. Arun, Mina, and Raju had returned to the lobby after exploring the hidden basement chamber. Their hearts were full of wonder from what they had discovered. The hotel, once forgotten and silent, now felt alive in a gentle and mysterious way. Shadows from the broken lamps danced across the walls, and the faint creaks of the old building seemed like whispers of the past. Raju suggested they rest for a while before exploring any more. They sat on a long wooden bench near the fireplace, even though the fireplace was cold and empty. Mina held the small journal from the chest in her hands, flipping through the pages with careful fingers. Each entry told stories of travelers, celebrations, storms, and strange events. "Do you think there is more to see?" Aaron asked. "We found the chest, the maps, and all the letters. Is there anything else hidden in this hotel?" Raju smiled. "This hotel has layers. Some things are visible. Some things reveal themselves only to those who pay attention. The walls, the furniture, even the floors have memories. And sometimes they guide people to places they need to see." Mina looked at him with curiosity. "What do you mean by guide?" Raju pointed toward the staircase leading to the upper floors. "Follow the footprints, the marks, the small signs. They will lead you to rooms that hold stories or objects that teach lessons. You have seen some already. There is more if you are willing to look." Aaron and Mina exchanged a glance. Their adventure had taken them further than they expected. What had begun as curiosity about an abandoned hotel had turned into a journey through history, mystery, and the unknown. They were ready to continue to explore the next part of the hotel. Carefully, they climbed the stairs again. The red carpet was worn, but it still ran through the hallway. Their flashlights illuminated the doors and the shadows along the walls. The footprints they had seen earlier seemed to appear again, faint but guiding them forward. They reached a large door at the end of the corridor. Unlike the other doors, this one was intact, solid and heavy. Its wood was polished despite the years, and a faint symbol was carved in the center, a mountain with a rising sun behind it. "This door looks important," Mina said. Raju nodded. "It is. Few people have entered this room. It is where the hotel kept its most treasured memories, the stories that could not fit in the basement chest." Aaron took a deep breath and pushed the door open. It groaned but allowed them inside. The room was magnificent. The walls were lined with old shelves filled with books, manuscripts, and paintings. Some paintings showed mountains, rivers, and forests. Others were portraits of people who had stayed at the hotel long ago. The room smelled of old paper and polished wood, a comforting yet mysterious scent. In the center of the room was a round table with several objects neatly placed on it. There were delicate carvings, small models of the hotel and mountains, and glass jars filled with tiny stones, feathers, and leaves. Each object seemed carefully chosen, as if it held a special meaning. Mina picked up a small model of the hotel. "It is exact," she said. "Even the broken parts are included. Someone made this to remember every detail." Raju explained. "Yes, the owner loved the hotel and he wanted to preserve its story. He created these models and objects to capture the life that the hotel had witnessed. Each item has a story. Each tells something important about the people who came here and the times they lived in." Aaron turned toward the shelves and found a row of journals similar to the one they had discovered in the basement. He pulled one out and opened it. The handwriting was elegant and the entries were detailed. They spoke of daily life in the hotel, visitors who came from faraway places, festivals celebrated with laughter and music, and strange events that occurred unexpectedly. One entry described a mysterious visitor who had arrived during a stormy night. No one knew where he came from, yet he seemed to know the hotel well. The entry said that the visitor left a small wooden box behind, containing a message for anyone who discovered it. Aaron looked at Raju. "Could this be the box we need to find?" Raju nodded. "Perhaps. The hotel leaves clues for those who are curious and brave. Follow the signs and you may find it." Mina noticed a small rug near the corner of the room. It looked ordinary, but under the flashlight a faint symbol appeared. A tiny sun carved into the corner. She lifted it and found a small trapdoor underneath. Her heart raced as she called Aaron and Raju over. The trapdoor led to a tiny hidden compartment. Inside was the wooden box mentioned in the journal. Aaron carefully opened it. Inside were several papers, a small key, and a folded note. The note read, "To those who seek the truth of this place, the mountains, the hotel, and its memories are yours to discover. Respect the past, live in the present, and the future will guide you." Mina unfolded the papers. They were maps of the mountains indicating secret paths, caves, and streams. Some maps showed hidden areas around the hotel that few people had ever visited. The key was old but beautifully crafted, with symbols matching the carvings they had seen on the basement chest and the attic chest. Aaron felt a thrill. "The hotel is showing us everything now. We have discovered the past and it is leading us to explore the mountains properly." Raju smiled. "Yes, the hotel is not just a building. It is a guide. It teaches respect for nature, history, and the unknown. Those who come with curiosity and care can learn much from it." Mina carefully placed the papers back in the box. She felt a sense of accomplishment. They had uncovered the hidden secrets, the treasure of memories, and the true story of the hotel. Aaron felt the same. The hotel had shared its soul with them, rewarding their courage and patience. Suddenly, a soft wind blew through the room. The lamps flickered and shadows danced across the walls. It was not frightening, but calming, as if the hotel itself was acknowledging their discovery. Haroon and Mina looked at Raju, who nodded silently. "It is time to rest," he said. "Tomorrow the mountains await. You will see their beauty, their secrets, and perhaps discover more hidden paths. But for tonight, let the hotel sleep and let yourselves rest too." They carefully closed the trapdoor, returned the box to its hidden compartment, and left the room. Walking down the corridor, the hotel felt peaceful. The echoes of the past were gentle now, as if the building was happy that its story was being understood. In the lobby, they sat near the fireplace again. The stars outside shone brightly over the mountains. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying the cool night air. Aaron and Mina shared their excitement and thoughts. "This adventure has been more than I expected," Mina said. "I thought we were just exploring an old hotel, but it feels alive." "It has a soul," Aaron nodded. "Yes, it is full of stories, mysteries, and memories.
And now we are part of it too."
We have discovered its secrets and learned to respect them." Raju smiled. "Remember, the hotel will always be here. The mountains, the rooms, the secret chambers, they remain. But the true gift is understanding its story and carrying it forward with respect. The hotel teaches patience, curiosity, and care for history and nature." The night grew deeper, and the three of them decided to sleep in the sunlit room they had found earlier. They laid out small blankets and pillows and rested, knowing that tomorrow would bring more exploration and wonder. The hotel, majestic and silent, watched over them, keeping its secret safe but ready to reveal more to those who approached it with respect. Before sleeping, Mina whispered, "I feel like the hotel chose us to discover its story." Aaron smiled and nodded. Raju turned toward the window, gazing at the mountains, and quietly said, "It chooses those who are ready." The mountains stood tall. The forest around them whispered with the wind, and the abandoned hotel held its history, its treasures and its secrets. Arun and Mina had uncovered the story of the Mountain View Hotel, a place frozen in time but alive with memory. The adventure had come to a close for the night, but the bond between the travelers, the hotel, and the mountains would last forever. They slept peacefully, surrounded by the whispers of the past and the quiet strength of the mountains. Outside, the stars shone as if guarding the hotel, and inside, the building rested, knowing its story was now safe in the hands of those who respected it. The abandoned hotel, silent yet alive, waited patiently for the morning, ready to reveal its beauty and mysteries to the world, and to anyone brave enough to explore it. Aaron and Mina knew that they had not just discovered a building, they had discovered history, adventure, and the hidden magic of a place that time forgot but memory preserved.